Hi everyone, it's Corey from Linda's Electric Quilters. Today we're going to talk about the Relocate feature on our Statler Stitcher. Relocate can be used for a wide variety of projects. We're going to look at the most common uses. That's all coming up here and more today on Back to the Basics. Alrighty, so the first option in Relocate that we're going to look at today is Relocate using Shift selected to one point. And I'm going to demonstrate that today on this quilt that I've done in edge to edge mode. And the issue that I've ran into, and I'm sure many of you have run into it before, is that I rolled up my quilt too far in edge to edge mode, and when it was quilting throughout halfway through, it ran into the belly bar and caused it to have a little error. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to use the Relocate feature to one, stay in edge to edge mode, and two, be able to roll it back just a little bit so you can get that keep going as you're quilting along. So what you're going to do first is you are going to select all of your patterns. So right up here at the top there is an option for select all patterns. So I'm going to left click on that, and it's going to highlight all of my patterns. Once I have those done, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to come down here to this feature. It's fourth up from the bottom, and it's going to be Relocate. And the first option in Relocate is Shift selected to one point. So I'm going to left click on that. And when I do that, it's going to prompt me and it's going to say click known point on CAD screen. So what it's doing is it's looking for a point on the screen that you can easily find as well as on the quilt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this point on the star right here where these lines intersect, because that's easy for me to find. And what you can do is if you have done this process before you rolled the quilt backwards, you can actually put your machine right over the point that you want to use. So I'm going to put my machine right over that point, and I can see that my crosshairs will easily find that point for me as well. So if you do this before you roll the quilt, it's kind of easier to find the point on the screen as opposed to doing it after you roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this point. So I'll left click on the point right here where my crosshairs are at, and it's going to say click yes when the machine head is at the same point on the quilt. Now you want to click yes after it's been rolled, because if I click yes now, it's going to stay exactly where it's at, and it's not going to give me the option to continue quilting. So I'm going to take off my clamps, and I'm going to roll up the, roll back the quilt just a little bit, so give me just a sec. Okay, so now that I've rolled back the quilt, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my machine head back on that point where I clicked earlier, and once I've done that, I'm going to hit yes. And when I select yes, you'll see that the pattern has shifted back downwards. So all I have to do to continue my quilting is go to the restart feature. So right here at the top, you'll see this spool of thread with a pencil on it, so I'll left click on that. And it's going to ask me to move my machine head and click use this point. So I'm going to move it to where it stopped, which is right here. I'm going to hit use this point. Can hit quilt. Actually, let me grab my threads out of the way real quick. Move those out of the way. There we go. It's going to ask me to pull up my bobbin thread and hit OK. And it's going to continue going on just like it never happened. Alrighty, so the next option in Relocate that we're going to look at is the relocating by the project origin. And so what that does is when I'm in edge to edge mode, I can relocate the project origin to go ahead and realign all of my patterns. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to use the row that I've already quilted. So this is the second row that I've already quilted right here. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to left click on the first repeat of this row. So that's going to be right here. And when I right click on it, I can come down to Relocate, and you'll see the option at the bottom for Relocate Project Origin. And when you're relocating the project origin, one, it's realigning all of your patterns. So while you're working through an edge to edge, if your patterns ever get out of whack, or if your boundary starts to shift around, you can realign everything using this. So what I'm going to do is move the machine head to the new start point. So the start point is right here. If stuff's being realigned, I can use it right here. So I'm going to move my machine head to this point. And I'm going to go ahead and select yes. And now it's going to go ahead and give me the option to redo my boundary. So it's click my upper left hand corner of my edge to edge. Just come up here to my upper left. And if you're doing it in the middle of the quilt, you don't have to re-roll it all the way back up to the top to do it. It's just of what you're working with at this time. So now it's going to ask me to click the upper right hand corner. So I'll put my machine head at the upper right. And click that. And now it's going to ask me to do the lower right hand corner. So bring that down here. Do the lower right. And it'll have me do the lower left hand corner. And so what that has done is it has realigned all my patterns and given me the option to make a new boundary to continue on with my quilting. So the next option in the Relocate feature that we're going to look at is relocating using the Shift All to 2 points. And the main uses that you'll see Shift All to 2 points for is when you're doing repeat patterns to do an overall quilting design, or if you're doing more custom quilting and you want to shift up the work on your computer screen, you would use Shift All to 2 points because sometimes it can be a little more accurate than shifting to 1 point. So we're going to go ahead and look at that right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and relocate using Shift Alt to 2 points up my repeat pattern design that I'm working with right now. So what I'll do is I'm just going to highlight what I have quilted right here. You can see that it has highlighted what I've done up top. And then I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to come down here to relocate. And you'll see the third option is Shift All to 2 points. So if I click on this, it gives me the ability, it's going to say click first known point on CAD screen. So what I like to do when I'm using 2 points is I like to do one on the left hand side of the quilt and then one on the right hand side of the quilt. So I normally just use my start and end points. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Before you use your machine head though, you need to go ahead and click them on your computer screen. So what I'm going to do is I'll click the start point right here. It's going to be my first known point. Left click on that. And then it's going to say click the second known point on your CAD screen. So I'm going to come over here to my end point, right here on the right hand side. I'm going to left click on that. When that's done, you're going to get a message that prompts you to click yes when the machine head is at the first known point on the quilt. So I've already rolled up my quilt. So what I'm going to do is move my machine head right over here. This was the first known point that we clicked. So I'll click on that, I'll hit OK. And it's going to say click yes when the machine head is at the second known point, and the second known point was right over there. So I'll bring our machine head over here, get it right over that, and I'm going to hit yes. And you can see on the screen that the quilting has shifted up and it's given me the ability to go ahead and start quilting again. Option in the Relocate feature that we're going to talk about today is the Shift All to 1 point. So using the Shift All to 1 point, I normally use that when I'm doing blocks. You can use it for anything when you're relocating. I just like to use it when I'm doing blocks because normally I only need to relocate it by 1 point. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and roll up my quilt a little bit because I finished my block right here. And I want to go ahead and go roll up my quilt. So I'm going to do that real quick. So now that I've gone ahead and rolled up my quilt top, I want to relocate the block on my screen so I can shift that up so I can continue working below it, and I'll be able to see where it's at on the CAD screen in retrospect to everything else that I'm going to be working with. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is left click on the block on our CAD screen, and it's going to highlight the magenta color. I'm going to then right click on this, come down to relocate, and the second option you'll see is shift all to one point. So I'm going to click on this, and it's going to ask me to click the known point on my CAD screen. And the point that I'm going to use is this little top point up here because it's easy for me to find on here as well as on the screen. So I'm going to click on this point up here with my mouse. So I'll click on the point, and then it's going to tell me to click yes when the machine head is at the same point on the quilt. So I'm going to put my machine head right over that using my laser, and I'm going to put it right over that top, and I'm going to click yes. Once I've done that, you can see that it has shifted up because it has moved out of the boundary, so you can see that it did shift up, and I can continue working with anything else I want to do. I hope you enjoyed learning about the Relocate feature today on your Statler Stitcher. Remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. I'll see you next time. Remember, keep calm and Statler on.